Hey everyone, just a quick note for the podcast. My audio had some weird, freaky malfunction and we just could not figure out how to fix it. So please bear with us. It's pretty listenable, but we hope to be up and running again. We also will be taking a pause next week as Isaac will be out of town. So we'll fill you all in on that as well the following Tuesday. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey there, folks. I'm Isaac, and I didn't prepare a little thing.
And I'm Dark Souls Claire. No, I said it wrong. I'm Claire Dark Souls.
Claire Dark Souls. And this is
Make that game, where we fix
We're
the latest
greatest.
new video game ideas.
These aren't real. No, we have no plans to make these. So you can take them if you want, unless they're really good. Then we keep them. But kick it off. Intro song. Anyways, so you can tell we've been out of this for a week, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That was a good intro. That was
rusty.
I think it went well.
Yeah.
I think it was quirky and endearing.
Just like us.
Yeah, exactly. So Claire, do you have any latest gaming endeavors / newses?
Yeah. So I have not been playing many video games, or really any video games, because I wasn't allowed to.
Oh.
That's my brain. But I had a mild concussion, which is why we had to skip last week. But yeah, so no video games there. But hoping, I think I can get back to it. I've just been holding off, but I'd love to get back to it. However, I do have some gaming news that I'm very excited about.
That's not allowed. I'm the news person here.
No, I found the news before you did.
You did. You've earned this one.
So as y'all know, I love Kirby, a big Kirby fan, big fan. And Kirby is releasing a new game. It says summer 2022, which is what's happening now. So it's gotta be soon, I think. Is Kirby
just for my birthday?
Yeah, happy belated birthday. Isaac's birthday was last week. Yeah. Just in time for my concussion. But so it's called Kirby's Dream Buffet, and it's a racing game where you play as different colored Kirby's, kind of like they're all like rolly balls, kind of like the tilt games for Kirby, like the Kirby Tilt and Tumble was a game we watched at SGDQ.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, and I forgot about like how similar it is.
Yeah, and there's also a tilt table game within like a mini game in Kirby's and the Forgotten Land. So it's kind of like that, but you're rolling around dessert. So you've like been shrunk, you're on a cake, and it's a cake race, and you're racing around the cake as this little ball rolling around. And the goal is to get as many like fruits and food, because as you collect the food, you get bigger. And then at the end, the player who is the largest ball wins.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool
looking.
It can be up to 4 players. I'm not sure. I can't really tell much from other than that. I'm not sure if they're going to have a 1-player mode and what that looks like, but I'm definitely going to get it when it comes out, and we'll be able to give you a full honk and bonk. So looking forward to some more Kirby this summer. Isaac, what about you? Do you have any gaming endeavors or news that you've been up to?
Yeah, so I played Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series, which came out within the last 2 weeks. I forget exactly when, but I basically instantly downloaded it and started playing it because I loved Klonoa Door to Phantomile, I think it was called. It was a GBA game, and I did not have the hardware to play any other Klonoa game.
What's a GBA game?
Game Boy Advance. Wow, okay. I used an acronym. Wow.
That's okay. You're loud, but that's why I asked for our audience members who might not know.
Yeah.
And me.
um, and so I haven't actually played since I had a Game Boy Advance, which, you know, was probably going on 20 years at this point. Like, when did the,
Wow.
I'm doing some research. Game Boy Advance. This game, you can actually buy Game Boy Advances still. Oh, wait, no, never mind. All right, they initially sold for $99. Interesting. So they were released in 2001. So yeah, this was 2 decades ago
Dang.
that I was probably playing Klonoa, and I'm rusty at it. It's really hard. It's harder than I thought it was going to be, and I'm only on normal difficulty. There's a lot of like pretty precise movement and jumping that you need to do.
Oh, was this the game that you were playing next to me and you were just getting frustrated every second?
Yes.
Okay, all right, connecting the dots.
Yep. Yeah, so the movement like feels a little stiff compared to the other platformers that I'm used to playing, like Kirby games and Mario games and like Celeste and a bunch of dungeon platformer roguelike games. But like I say that and then I realize that the movement is pretty comparable to Iconoclasts, which is one of my favorite games of all times. So like it's fine. It's just this game really focuses on like the platforming aspect rather than the fighting exploring aspect that like Iconoclast does. So it's a little bit more frustrating for me to like actually have to interact with these core game mechanics in interestingly designed ways. But yeah, besides that, I also played Slime Rancher, and it's everything that I thought it would be from the SGDQ run. The only thing that is throwing me off about it, the only part that I wasn't expecting going into it is when you're in an area, you hear like every sound in the entire area. And these areas are like pretty big, so like every plop of every slime bouncing around and every like
Ew.
little squeaky noise that they make. So it's just a cacophony as like there are 100 slimes just booping around and you're like, what's going on?
That seems very overstimulating, honestly.
A little bit, but yeah, how I had a fun time setting up a little slime ranch, and I can tell that this is going to be a pretty short game even without
Okay.
like speed running it. um and because I watched the speed run, I basically have a general idea of what I need to do anyways, so expect that to be
I
done
still
pretty
haven't
quick
seen what
if
this
I
game
play
looks like.
it. You should watch me play as soon as your head feels better.
I will. I will.
And then the other game that I've been playing that I remember to talk about is what I'm gonna honky bonky. So stay tuned for that. Speaking of honking and bonking, Claire,
Yeah,
are you gonna do a little mini review of the design of a game that you have played in your life?
I am.
Incredible.
I know. Yeah. So I guess I have been playing another game and I play it often, and it is the Ring Fit from on the Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
And I believe in my mind it is like the Nintendo Switch's answer to Wii Fit when they had the Wii. So if we can all close our eyes and go back to, I don't know, 2008. I don't know. I would
I
have to
think that
Google it.
sounds
I'm
about
being
right.
lazy, but around about there. And there was the balance board, the Wii Fit balance board that you stand on, and the little me's doing exercises. And, you know, yeah, I actually use that quite a bit. So back in high school, especially, I'd like get home from high school, I'd do like 20 to 30 minutes of Wii Fit like every day. So
Wow.
yeah, it
That's
was
a
a good,
lot of Wii Fit.
yeah, it's a good little habit. And so when I heard of Ring Fit for the Switch, and Isaac had a Switch, and I was, it's actually before we lived together, but so you were very nice to me to let me use your Switch for exercise. I decided to get it. And so instead of a balance board, which is something that you stood on for the Wii Fit, the Ring Fit has a ring, as you might imagine. It's basically like a giant flexible ring made of plastic that is, what's a good size comparison? Like the size of like,
It's the size of my 3D printer.
that's not helpful to anybody.
If they had seen my 3D printer, they'd know.
I don't think they have.
There's at least one listener who has.
Okay, well, I'll post to our Instagram, banana for scale, but it's like
perfect.
a big, I want to say like a giant embroidery hoop, but like that also is a bad reference point. So I don't know, like a big pot of spaghetti. That's like the size. And and also a leg strap. So you put one Joy-Con in the leg strap and one Joy-Con on the ring, and that's how you play the game. So that's the mechanics you need to understand. I'm going to honk and bonk what I think of it. So the first honk is that these types of games, I don't even think the fact that it's like any of the game design might not even play into this in the sense, but it's just like exercise games, like games that give you points for doing an exercise. Basically the only way I will actually exercise to do like actual exercise, like squats and like cardio and like on purpose exercise. Really, it needs to be a game for me, because I grew up doing dance, and I think the reason I went to dance practice every day was because I knew my teammates needed me, and like really no one cares but me if I do crunches, and I actually don't care that much, it turns out. So I need the ring fit to care for me. And it does. So I'm just saying that ring fit does fill that need of like, it is motivating me to work out, which is a good thing. So we like that. That's a big honk. And I haven't gotten sick of it either, you know, so it's like I do show up to it pretty much, you know, like 3 to 4 times a week. I also really like that it does a really good job of doing cardio compared with strength exercises. So a lot of the ring fit is you kind of like jogging in place, and while you're using the ring to like battle things and collect items as you run. And then that's interspersed with little battles where you have to like, you like do squats to like beat your enemies, or like do like an arm exercise to like punch your enemies. It's kind of cool that way. So it's almost like VR light in that sense. And so I think it does a good job of like combining the strength and cardio. So you really do get your heart rate up, which is important. Where Wii Fit did not, like Wii Fit was very much like, I mean, if I had a Fitbit back then, it probably would never have gone above like regular heart rate. It was much more strength and flexibility focused, and much less cardio. And so that's really cool, I think, the way that the Ring Fit does that. And then my final honk is that the battles are really entertaining. So like the monsters that you battle are like all fitness themed. Like there's like evil kettlebells and like, I don't know.
Evil kettlebells, the most terrifying enemy I can think of.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, I guess they're not all exercise themed, but for the most part they are. They're kind of goofy, but also like it's fun to punch them. Like they make the battling really fun. The battle mechanics are good. They'll attack you. You know, you drink smoothies to gain like power-ups, and it's all very fun. There's like when you fight the big boss, it'll say like to kind of show you how much damage you have or have not done. Like say he's still in like really good health, it'll be like he's working out while planning his next workout. Like I don't know. It's silly, it's fun. I like it. So that's what I like. There are some bonks though, as there are in all games. My first bonk is that there's way too much story. Now I know I've come on here and said I really love games with story. However,
you're just trying to work out, right?
I'm just trying to work out. Like it's story enough that I'm running around and also, by the way, very beautiful like areas, like very cool to look at. Running around these cool to look at areas, battling little creatures, you know, collecting stuff. That's enough of a story for a workout game. But instead, like the ring itself is like sentient and it talks to you, and things were stolen and you're trying to restore this land. And guess what? I don't actually know the story that much because I'm skipping through it as fast as I can because I'm like, I have 20 minutes in the morning to work out. Like, can you calm down and let me just work out, please? So that is like a big bonk for me, is just like a little story is okay, but the amount that they're trying to build a story into this is kind of too much, because it is at its base a workout game. Wow.
And
then the other bonk is related. These are all the bonks I think are related to that. But there's a lot of text, like just so much text and screens to skip through, and it's really frustrating. So when you most Switch games, if you have a Switch that you have 2 accounts on, will ask you, like, if I click on Kirby, it's like, what account are you playing under? And I get to pick Isaac or me because we share our Switch. But this one doesn't do that when you log in, and instead there you have profiles within the game. And so each time you log in, it like restarts everything about how to use the game. Like, it's like, here's how to use the ring, here's how to use the leg strap, here's what you need to know for safety, blah blah blah. And I have to skip through every single of those every time I load it.
So like literally every single time, like
literally every single time.
If you keep the game, have you ever like kept the game running and just put the Switch into rest mode? Does it do it like when it wakes up from rest mode?
I don't think it would do that. But I haven't. Usually I play a game in between because like I want to actually
games
play
are fun.
Games. Yeah, exactly. or you'll play a game or whatever. We'll use the Switch in between my 20-minute workout and the next time I use it. So that's super annoying. And then it still does it even when you like enter your profile. It's like, do you want to keep your level of difficulty the same? Like, asks you constantly, and it's like, I can change it myself. Like, I can go into settings and change it myself if I feel like I want to change it. Like, please stop. It gives you like tips of the day, like workout tips, like fun facts. It's like, it gives you your stats constantly. And I'm like, I feel like the stats, some people might find that really cool. I don't really care. But if you like that, I still think they should be only at the very end of your workout. Like, you can check like, hey, how did I do? Versus after every like boss battle, or not even boss, like every small battle, you get like a stat card instead of just being able to keep playing through the game. Like, that would be annoying in any game. They're like, here's how you did on that last battle you just had. And it's like, can I just finish the dungeon, please? So I just feel like I'm constantly skipping through screens, and like, it's annoying. And then the final bonk, again, connected to all the others, is they have like weird ways to measure your workout time. So I use my Fitbit to measure like my actual workout because I don't trust the Wii Fit. Not Wii Fit, the Ring Fit. They're too close. Because so they'll say like, this workout is 5 minutes, but it will take me like 17 minutes to complete. But it's because they're only timing when you're specifically working, like doing a thing.
So from what I remember, so you run and then there's battling. So running and battling both count, right? So
yes, but it doesn't count all those screens I just mentioned. Oh. So while you're standing there clicking through screens and your heart rate's still up, and like you're still in workout mode, right? Like, rest periods are part of working out. It's not counting that as part of your workout. And it's basically like all those little like annoying little in-between things don't count towards your quote unquote workout time. And then I just think all like, if you're not really measuring like anything on a person's body, like you're not really getting accurate counts of pretty much anything. So that's why I skip those anyway, because I'm like, it doesn't really matter. You don't know enough about me to really say one way or the other what's going on. So those are the bonks. But I do think overall, if you're someone who likes like gamified workouts, I think this is a really good one. Could be better, but it is a good, it's up there, it's good. And I again, very good at like the cardio strength balance. But yeah, Isaac, what about you? Do you have well, I know you do. You actually already teased that you have a Honkin'
I did.
Bonk, so I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so I played Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap by Lizard Cube, which coincidentally is free on the Epic Store until July 21st.
That is a great name for a game, by the way. Just wanted to say.
Wait, what?
It's a good name for a game. I really like it.
Yeah. Wonder Boy. So it is a remake of a classic platformer called Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. So they dropped the 3. They don't want you to know that there's previous ones or something. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, it's a remake, and you play as a human, and you are cursed to be in different monster bodies that have different abilities, and you solve puzzles like that. The game, you start off as a very powerful human with a lot of health bars. So it has like hearts like Legend of Zelda does. But each heart isn't split into like 4 even pieces. Like each one seems to represent a certain amount of like HP, and different monsters do different amounts of damage. I have not fully grokked the concept behind all that yet.
Okay.
But like the human, you start with like 10 or 15 or something hearts, and none of the enemies like do any damage to you, and then you fight the boss, and then the boss like curses you, and you become a lizard man who only has 1 heart, but you
Oh,
can
wow.
breathe fire. Yeah,
I think
so
it's a bold, brave and bold choice to have the human be the strongest.
yeah. So yeah, that's the setup for the game. My first honk is because it is a remake. You know, this is based off of a classic old school like retro game, and what you can do is you can switch between the remade sound and music and graphics at will and separately. So if you're like, as beautiful as these hand-drawn animations and artwork is, I would like to see the pixels, please. And then you press a button and instantly it's pixels. And like you can like in the middle of a battle just be like flipping back and forth if you want to for whatever reason. And you can do the same thing with the music where, you know, the next note of the song is going to be retro MIDI synthesized beat boop instead of the orchestral. I was playing it very quietly, and the sound wasn't super memorable to me compared to the graphics. So I couldn't tell you what the sound actually sounds like. Anyways, so yeah, the first honk is I like that you can I like that you can do that switch like so freely. Like it's just a button on the controller. You don't have to go into a menu or anything. You're just like, I want the beat boops now. I want the pixels. I'm done with the pixels. Second honk is there's lots of fun little areas to find while you're exploring around. Levels aren't just like straightforward, get to the end affairs. There's all kinds of shortcuts and like treasure chests with money and stuff inside of it. And I always like it when you have fun little side things to do, especially if they count as shortcuts. And then finally, it's got like this RPG like element where you can change equipment so you can get different armors and weapons. And while I was playing, I was really motivated by, oh, I got to get enough money to buy this new thing. I want to play more until I get the stronger stuff and see what it does. Even though I upgraded from like the ivory tunic to the goblin tunic, which when you're lizard boy or lizard man or whatever, ivory tunic gives you +3 defense and goblin tunic gives you +24 defense. I don't know what those numbers mean. Am I taking that much less damage per hit, or is there an attack defense comparison? There's no way you can tell. I don't know. But I did buy the goblin tunic because the number was so much bigger. So hooray.
Wow.
They've gotten me into it. And I'm gonna sneak a fourth honk into it. There's color-coded enemies. So like a a red snake. Great, now I'm confused. Anyways, enemies have different colors, and the colors indicate like how much damage that it takes to defeat them. So like green crabs take 3, blue crabs take 2, red crabs take 1. And I'm pretty sure the colors are the same for all enemies. So like red snakes, I'm pretty sure take 1 hit. Blue
That's kinda
snakes
cool.
take 2, green take 3. Red ogres 1, blue ogres 2. So you can kind of predict what you're going to need to do going into it, which is good because going into my bonks, it's got very floaty and slidey controls, which I don't like a whole lot. It makes it very hard to maneuver and just in general control my character because you'll be moving forward, and then when you stop it, like you will continue to slide forward, which means you could slide into the enemy. When you jump up, it's very hard to control once you've jumped up. There's these like bouncing blocks that make you jump up super high, but if you don't hit them at the correct angle, like you can't hit the ledge you're trying to go to because you don't get enough horizontal distance and you can't change your direction enough in air. It was really hard to control, but once I got into the groove of things, like once I grokked it, I was able to.
What is okay? You said this before, and I thought you just misspoke. But what are you talking about when you say you grokked it?
Grokking something is like figuring it out.
Okay. Yeah, I never heard that
Um,
before from you or anyone else.
oh wow, yeah, no, it's yeah, I don't think I can really describe it without contextual use, but yeah,
Okay.
you don't understand something at first, and then you've grokked it, and now you're a master. GROK. I hope that's a real term. If I just made that up, email us. But so very floaty and slidey controls is a bonk. I didn't like it, even though I was able to work around it. It was especially apparent in the first boss of the game, the one that curses you, where even though I had super tons of life and I guess did a lot of damage or something, the fight was the most frustrating thing in the world because I would like float just a little bit too far forward, get caught in the enemy's hitbox, and then it would I when you get hit, you kind of bounce back a little, but because the enemy was so tall and was moving in the same direction as me, it would repeatedly put me in the like take damage animation and then push me all the way to the end of the screen without me being able to do any more inputs. And then I would try to jump again and try to hit, but like I'd float a little too far in the air. And then the enemy would hit me again and push me back to the edge of the screen. I was like, this is the most annoying thing ever. And I had enough HP where there was no chance of me dying. It was just annoying. It would be like, oh, you lose a little tiny bit of life, but you also spend the next like 4 or 5 seconds unable to do anything. Pretty annoying. Second bonk. I actually have zero direction on where I'm supposed to go, and I don't know how to tell if I've won an area, like beat a level, because it's not really set up in levels. Like once you get cursed, you leave the castle and you're like in a little village. And one of the guys is like, if I were you, I'd find an antidote. And I'm like, okay. And I explore other houses. And like one of the houses brings me into a well, which brings me to a beach. And then I got to a point on the beach where there was a store where I bought the goblin tunic. And I don't know if I'm done with the beach now. I don't know if there's more to the beach than that because like I don't know. I don't know. And then I went to the desert and I kept dying in the desert and I gave up for now, for today. But yeah, I don't know if I'm doing good. I don't know if I'm doing bad. I don't know if I'm supposed to go in certain areas at certain times. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not very smart.
That sounds like my experience playing most video games. So I feel for you.
Yeah. And then my final bonk is that there are these annoying cloud enemies that I can't kill them, and they just fly slowly above or like directly above me, and they drop fireballs. And like when I'm fighting other enemies that I can kill on the ground, I'm also dodging these fireballs, and it's like, what are you doing? Come on, why can't I kill these cloud enemies? What am I supposed to do against these cloud guys with the fireballs? They're so annoying. They're so annoying. Oh, geez, I hate those annoying little cloud enemies. Anyways, that's Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap by Lizard Cube, and Lizard Cube is the ones who did the remake. I don't know who did the original game, but go out, get it free on the Epic Store if you listen to this podcast before the 21st, which I believe is Wednesday or Thursday. So you should be listening to the.
You've got plenty of time.
Um,
Yeah, if you're a true fan, it should be Tuesday.
All right, so with the honks and bonks done, have you ever had a video game idea in your brain that you just needed to let escape before it smashed around in there and just caused all kind of havoc?
I mean, I have, but I will say sometimes I just feel like almost compelled by an external force that I need to create one within 5 minutes before we record a podcast, and that happens as well.
Oh, okay. Wait,
Mhm.
is that what happened? Are you gonna pitch a 5-minute idea?
Well, it's an idea that I came up with very quickly. Yes. But I
Okay.
think that's not so unusual. We've talked about how fast we do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I do have a game though for you to hear about.
Okay.
So I was inspired by the new Kirby game in the sense of a racing game. I do love a racing game.
Okay.
I think I've pitched one before, but hey, who knows? We're on episode like 22, I think. I don't know anything.
That many? That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, somewhere in the 20 range.
Oh,
Anyway,
jeez.
so my game is called Race Through Time. And it is a racing game set in different eras and locations in time. So kind of think about like if Mario Kart and Carmen Sandiego Lost in Time, the PC game, had a baby, like this would be it.
Okay.
So the main mechanic that makes it unique is in each era you have different vehicles that you can use that are era based. So like carts, horses, chariots, cable cars, I don't know, right? Like you can imagine, like whatever transport is makes sense in that both area and time period.
Spaceships.
Right. But as you progress through time, you have access to the ones you had before. So you could be like driving around like 80s Chicago, but using a chariot because you like the mechanics of the chariot, or like they're going to help you in a certain part of this race. So you like basically collect vehicles through time and can use them throughout the game.
The chariot's allowed to take a shortcut through the city park.
Or something like that. Yeah. Right. So there's like benefits to each type of vehicle. And I do always want, and I think I've mentioned this in other racing games we've talked about, maybe in the rapid fire, I really appreciate the movement based steering system that Nintendo does. So basically, like when you have a movement sensitive controller, and instead of using, what's the official word for the like wiggly buttons? Is there one?
Define wiggly button.
You know how like there's the solid buttons, like A, like
You're talking about the
X.
control sticks?
Yeah,
Okay.
those.
Sticks or nubs?
Instead of using the control sticks, you can use the controller, like you're moving the controller as you would a steering wheel.
Okay.
So like Mario Kart does that. Usually there's an option, like you can pick which one you have. So I just would always say that like I want that as an option. Like movement based controls are so much better in my eyes for people who are not super used to controls. And so it gives kind of an even playing field of like all your friends, like, oh, like, you know, do you want to play this racing game with me? And someone who's like never gamed before can do it. I think that's good. Because racing games at their core are a multiplayer experience.
Yes. Who plays single player racing games? Gran Turismo? Come on, nerds.
I don't even get that disc, but there you go. Yeah, and so the other cool thing is that you are collecting, and I haven't decided what it is, but each level you're getting clues of some sort of time crime.
Time crime. There we go.
I guess this is also kind of like Umbrella Academy-esque. I don't know. But you're like trying to figure out something about time. You've been sent into these different eras for a reason. So the other kind of different mechanic is not only do you have to complete the race, but you have to complete the race with the artifacts that you need from that time period to like solve the time crime. So it's like collectibles that are necessary to move on, not just for fun. And yeah, that's pretty much Race Through Time. That's the game. I mean, I guess I would have to think longer to come up with exactly what the time crime is. And there's probably going to be different ones so that you can play the game multiple times.
Right. Yeah. Multiple time crimes. You're a time crime agency, all linked to one time criminal.
Correct.
Who solves their cases via races. Now, are the races set up as races, or are they like car chases? Like you're it's a race.
It's
okay.
a race. Yeah,
okay, so you're not just like trying to catch a criminal and
no,
the game
the
sets it as a race.
The time criminal is not in the game. They've already been there. You're looking at the clues they've left behind. So it would still be a competitive game. It's not collaborative. Like you want to get like maybe your other players work for different time crime agencies. And you want to get all the artifacts first.
Okay. Wow, I like it. What was the name again? Oh,
Race Through Time.
Race Through Time. Yeah. Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
10
what
out
about
of 10.
nice? So what about you? What do you have to pitch today?
For you today, I have a game called Collapse.
Okay.
You are building demolition specialists. That means you climb to the top of buildings, rip out the brain of the building, and then escape before the building collapses. And then you sell the brain for lots of money.
Why does the building have a brain?
Because all buildings have brains in this
No.
world.
Okay.
And in order to demolish buildings, you have to rip out the brain. But
This is
then you can put the brain in a different building. So it's fine. You're not killing anything. You're just,
it was very strange, but also weirdly related to Harrow the Night.
Oh.
Okay, I'm currently reading.
Real? I can't wait to read that one and find out how that's possible. But okay, yeah. So this is a 2D platformer where you swap between two characters, one that can double jump and one that can pick up and throw items, including its partner, the one that can double jump. You can also play this game cooperatively. Do you see what I'm? Do you see where I'm going with this
Based on
one?
the name, I was hoping so.
Yeah. So each level is played in two parts. There's first the ascent, where you can do whatever, whenever, however you want to get your way to the top. But once you take the brain, the building starts rumbling, it starts a crumbling, and you have a limited time to get back down to the bottom. Which sometimes what you do during the ascent locks off certain paths. Like you solve a puzzle in a way where it now makes it so like you can't go back down that way anymore. So you have to find a different route, or maybe there's a puzzle on both sides. So like in order to get past on the way up, you have to solve one puzzle and then solve a different puzzle to get down. Characters might be split up for portions of the puzzle, and maybe they have to go opposite ways because double jump is less useful usually on the way down, but you can design like a path where only the one that can pick up and throw objects can get up, but then once they've cleared that path, the other person can like fall down, but in order to get down on the other path, you have to pick up and move objects. So like you can do the old reversey there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you use the money that you get from selling the brains to buy power-ups that only last for one level at a time.
What do people do with the brains after they're sold?
Put them in new buildings. Buildings gotta have a brain. There's limited building brains.
Oh, this feels very, very black market.
That's kind of, yes, that is what I was subtly hinting at the whole time.
Not so subtle, apparently.
Yeah, you rip out brains illegally and then escape. Yep, that's Collapse.
All right, well,
that's my game pitch.
I would say 10 out of 10 for originality, but like 3 out of 10 for morality. A little creepy, but that's all right. We go there sometimes here on Make That Game. All right, but now that we've each pitched a game, are you ready for what is my favorite part of the show, the rapid fire round?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I am.
So in the rapid fire round, as a refresher, we generate 3 random words using a website. I have not seen these words before. Isaac has not seen these words before. And we create a game in 5 minutes around those words. We have to use all 3 words, but we're allowed to stretch it a little bit if we so desire. And that's what we're about to do right now. So are you ready for the first 3 words?
Yes, I am.
Thanks.
Okay.
Illustrate.
Okay.
Censorship.
Oh.
Boy.
Jeez. Okay.
Okay. Thanks. Illustrate. Censorship. So my illustrate and censorship. One could be like you get censored. I don't know, like images of like faces and you have to like reconstruct the face under like the black square somehow. I don't know what the point of that would be. I don't know, but that's like where my brain went first.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's see. This is rough. This is all right. Let's see. I like where you're kind of going. So the faces are censored.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe. I don't know.
okay. This is a really stupid idea because like what's the setup for this? But like, okay, you've got camera.
Okay.
So there's a camera. You are someone who like I don't know. You are hired by businesses to send thank you cards, right?
Okay.
But all the people like nobody signs in, so you have to write thank you cards. Geez, I this
What do you
the,
mean
I
nobody signs in? What does that
so
mean?
all right. So imagine a store and like
Yeah.
people come in
Yeah.
and then they shop around and they buy stuff and then they leave, but the store has no record of who they are but wants to send them a thank you card for shopping at their place. So they do have camera footage, but for some reason the camera footage is all it has the bars across the eyes of everyone. So they send this camera footage to you, the player,
Wow.
and you have a record of all the eyes in like the area, and you have to match the eyes to the face, and then that goes into the computer system and tells you who it is so you can send them a thank you note.
All right. So this is bonkers. This is a
Yeah.
bonkers game, but I can't come up with anything else.
It's just you match the eyes to the face. Yeah. And if you get it right, the thank you note goes to the right address and you get paid 5 cents. And yeah, you just that's your job in
Okay.
this weird dystopian surveillance state.
Yep. No, I'm into it. I think we should call it THNX.
Oh, okay, yeah, THNX. Bam. All right, THNX, the weird dystopian surveillance state game about hypercapitalist thank you cards. Bum. 2 minutes left. Nailed it.
Wow.
Time.
Nailed it. Time. I know. We're not doing a speed run round this time. That's still fun. All right. Our next 3 words. Da-da-da. Oh boy.
Okay.
Bloodshed,
Oh.
behave,
Oh, jeez.
and uncertainty.
Okay. Uncertainty. That's a gimme. I
That's
feel
just
like
a random generator. Or what is it? RNG. RNG.
yeah. You just have RNG in the game. There's always like randomness. Like you can't ever be certain, but I mean maybe we could play with that a little more. All right. So bloodshed, behave.
Mm-hmm. Bloodshed, behave, uncertainty.
Okay. I'm gonna go in a different direction than I think everyone's brain was moving. And in Warhammer 40K, there is this class of officer called the Commissar, and they are the morale officers. And what that means is morale officers and disciplinary officers, and they go through and they basically execute people for cowardice or not being up to par
Okay.
or whatever. So I'm thinking the game is like you're basically one of those guys. It's like an investigation style game. So you investigate which one of the soldiers under your jurisdiction
has
misbehaved, and maybe we just have the bloodshed part could just be indirectly like because you are like working in the staff of soldiers. Maybe you don't necessarily have to execute these poor soldiers, because that's a little gruesome.
That's dark. Yeah, that's
maybe
really dark.
You give them demerits or court martial them or whatever. Like you don't have like there is a punishment involved depending on the misbehavior, and then the uncertainty that's what makes it the investigation game. Like you have to find the clues to figure out which ones are misbehaving.
Okay, yeah. What's like the game mechanic? Like, I don't know. I can't imagine how you'd play this game.
I would say it's a point and click adventure game.
Okay, yep.
Like side view style. where you can move around the screen. You click, your character moves over to it, and you have various ways of interacting, like talking. Classic adventure game style. You just have weird ways to interact with things, like licking. So you walk up to one of your soldiers and you lick them, and then they just confess right on the spot because they think that you're onto them and just playing mind games with them. Weird things like that to make it goofy and fun.
I kind of now imagine it looking like that too, like an old school RPG game.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely thinking like very pixelated, especially goofy. Like I'm thinking of the Monkey Island games, if any listeners are familiar with those.
I'm not, but hey, listeners.
That one's for you. So what do we call it though?
So you're saying you're playing an officer who wants to know if their soldiers are misbehaving, right?
Yes.
It's like the general census.
I just had a flash in my head of a name like disciplinary action or something. Discipline action. Because inaction is
okay,
you are actually acting. So never mind. Inaction doesn't fit. Dang it.
What's a behavior words like rule follower, hall monitor.
Hall monitor 20x1.
Well, yeah, it's not really hall monitoring, but I'm trying to think like how can we change yeah, I don't know. Man, this one's tough. I'm trying to make a name that would like sound like an interesting game. I feel
like behave yourselves.
Behavior cells. Nope.
Yeah, no, I got nothing. I got discipline,
disciplinary sleuth, discipline detective, disciplined detective discipline.
Detective Discipline. I'm gonna go with it because we have 7 seconds. Detective Discipline, the game where you investigate soldiers who are misbehaving.
There you go. All right, and our final 3 words of the episode. Drum roll in your mind. Different. Initial.
Different initial.
Pastel.
All right.
We're definitely not getting softballs this one. No softballs today.
I mean, pastel sort of is because we're just gonna have a pastel art style. It's gonna have a bunch of
okay. I was
nice
thinking that
Eastery watercolory
part of it.
And then it's different. And what was the second one?
I don't know.
Oh geez.
I closed it.
Crap.
Initial. Yeah, it was initial.
Oh, okay. So different initial, and then pastel is just how it looks. So
I was thinking pastel would be part of it. Like you are a pastel artist, or like you have pastels you have to like use, but that's fine. We could also just make it art. That's just the only thing that actually sparked anything in me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wait, I've kind of got an idea. So you are a character with a pastel paintbrush or pastel pencil of some sort, and you flip between 2 worlds. You have your initial world, and then you have the different world.
Oh, okay. I see.
And I'm thinking that there's maybe a find the difference aspect of this. Like maybe the worlds are overall pretty similar, but using your artist implement, you can change colors to get different behaviors out of things, or like if you match the different world to the initial world,
this seems pretty,
or vice versa.
This is like very complicated.
Yeah, and that's what we love in the rapid fire round. We love complicated, hard to explain ideas.
Okay, so I like the different initial worlds. Let's like simplify it down a little bit though. Like maybe it's kind of like there's like an initial world, which is more like the real quote unquote world, and then the underworld is like the Pastel like art world.
Okay.
And you can make some changes to the art to like affect the quote unquote initial world, but like it's mostly just like a puzzle solving game, like kind of like you have to like figure out how to like get from point A to point B, and you have to use that power in creative ways to do so.
Okay. Yeah.
Just to kind of like parse it a little bit into like a fully fledged game.
All right. And then yeah, so maybe does the path do you art?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it feels like akin to Chicory. It feels like a cousin of Chicory in a way.
Okay, we love a chicory
We do.
and its cousins. Okay. All right. So it's you art, you have the real world and then a pastel world, which can influence the real world, but
It's
it
basically
sounds
like
like
puzzles on 2 layers, right? It's kind of what.
yes.
But you can only draw on the pastel world would be kind of how you.
Okay, there we go. That adds all right. That adds a little bit. So you draw in the pastel world and you use that to solve puzzles, which might have an impact on the real world, but not necessarily.
Yeah.
So is there a word for world that starts with P? So it can be like pastel. Ba ba ba. I'm looking up synonyms. Am I allowed to do that? Pastel planet? No, pastel plane.
Pastel plane. Well, so like pan is like like pandemic.
Pan pastel?
Pastel pandemonium. Pastel pan. What isn't it like pan? I thought there's a pan word that means world.
Well, Pangea was like the first original like supercontinent. Nope. Okay. All right.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think pastel Pangea makes sense.
No, unless there was dinosaurs in the pastel world. Okay. All right. Then we
Hold on, I'm looking at all words that start with pan.
Okay, we've got 30 seconds left. So
What do you think of other ones?
Pastel Panic.
Pastel Panic's good.
Pastel
Much
Panic.
better than pastel pancreatitis.
Yeah, with 10 seconds left to spare, we have designed a game called Pastel Panic where you solve puzzles by traversing between the real world and the pastel world.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for getting us through that rapid fire round. That was a doozy.
Yeah, well, you helped out quite a bit too, so don't give me all the credit here.
I don't know. I feel like you came up with the initial ideas more than I did this time, just because those words, man. All right. Well, thank you all for listening to this beautiful episode of our podcast. If you want to find us on social media, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Make That Game Pod. You can use the hashtag Make That Game to tweet about games that you want us to see or make things you want us to see. We will check that hashtag. We use it as well. You can also email us at makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com with any ideas of games you might want to see honked and bonked, of game idea pitches that you want us to make, or words that you want us to use in a rapid fire round. We'd love to hear from you. And if you heard a game today that you think should exist, should grace our world, our PCs, our Switches, please, we encourage you to go out there and make
that
game.